Hey guys, just an update. It's actually super dry now, and there's really not much in the way for the bees to forage on. Daisy's about the last thing standing, so all the clover, if I can find some clover and zoom in on it, you can see that it's really drying out. There's no flowers, so before the bees were just on the clover, but there's very little left. Maybe just little spots here and there. So I'm really wondering what they're having. There's a lot of bees, but in terms of the trees have really shot up. So a lot of the time you actually had to go and find these trees, but you can see here, I just planted these pines because they're real fast. I'll just cut them down later when I've got some bush, but that's doubled in size this summer, and you can just see a few of them poking up. The tree lucerne, is it Tagataste? Is that how you pronounce it? That's been growing up. Don't know if you can see that from there. Yeah. But I tell you, a big thing that's made all the difference, and that's mulching. Yeah, so, and I think leaving the grass long and not mowing it is a form of mulching. So you can sort of see everywhere that I've put down cardboard. Here's an example. This is actually a jacaranda tree, which I love them, but I don't think it's going to survive. But I've actually mulched it with cardboard and bark, and if you lift it up and dig down underneath, you get to about there, and you can actually feel the dampness. So I think that's making a huge difference actually, and I wish I'd done it earlier. My original idea was just to chuck in a heap of trees and surely some of them will grow, but I think that, it's our method, but I'm a little bit disheartened by how poorly those trees have grown. And I think the problem is that when you have a paddock, you haven't actually got good soil. Like, it just grows grass. That's whoever owns paddocks, they just fertilise enough for the next season's grass. So there isn't actually any kind of real underlying fertility. And I think that's why the trees haven't grown so well. So if I was going to do the whole thing again, I think I might actually concentrate on spending more time on each tree. Definitely a post hole borer was a big win, not having to dig them by hand, but it's hard to say. Like, you buy a seedling for $2, between $2.50 and $5, $30 if you buy a reasonable size one, and it's $10 for a bag of mulch. But everything I've planted with a bag of mulch it seems to be surviving the dry. It's not drying out, it's doing well. They're all just taking straight to it and getting going, whereas everything I put straight into farm paddock, it's just gone on strike really. I'll give you an example. So these pittosporums, they're pretty much the same size as when I planted them a year ago. Yeah, and it's not dying, but it's not growing either. Yeah. And I think the other thing that's a problem is, particularly when you buy small seedlings, and I think there's a point where a seedling's not even worth planting it out. So these flaxes here were the very first thing I planted with Megan. And to be honest, they're definitely growing, but man, they just get taken out by the grass. I think we would have lost them except for the fact they come down and just weeded out the grass. And now that they've got their head above grass height, I think they'll be okay. But to be honest, if you've got a tree and it's not above grass height, man, you're going to have to spend so much time looking after that. At least two things. One is you just leave it, repot it and let it grow bigger and then plant it. Or two, dig a big hole, chuck it full of potting mix, and then mulch the crap out of it over the top. And I'm talking about just lay down sheets of cardboard and throw bark right over the top. I think that would have been the right thing to do. Anyway, I'm going to test my theory. This autumn, I'm going to pick a spot and I'm going to really focus on one area. What I want there. I'm going to start out by planting and mulching, and then I'm going to cover it in cardboard, the whole area like a garden bed, and I'm going to cover it in bark, and I'm going to compare how they grow to everything else I've done is growing. But again, you know, just picking these species that are first generation bush is just a lot better idea than trying to go straight to totras and rimu and all those beautiful New Zealand trees that we love. The problem is they don't grow in farm paddocks, you know, they grow in dirt that's had a first generation of bush over it and is kind of returning to what I'd call fertility. Anyway, you can tell I've been watching a lot of Jeff Lawton and Weedy Garden. Anyway, we're in New Zealand, which means hot and dry, and my trees are drying out, so I'm putting together a plant waterer. Let me just turn the camera. What we've got here is a tractor battery and a cheap 12-volt pump from Bunnings and some old garden hose I found in the bottom of a junkyard, and I've got an IBC container which I am filling up. What do you think about 1 year on the place?
Wow, has it been a year?
A little bit more than a year.
More than a year. Year and a year and a half?
It's been about a year since we planted all the trees though.
Yeah, some successes, some failures. Some of the trees are a little bit small. I think we've learnt to make sure that they're a little bit bigger before they go in the ground, yeah?
Yeah, I agree. Those little ones, there's just places where there's mulch and there's not even a sign of a tree that was ever one planted there. And that was the seedlings we planted that were about this high. What's that, like 200 millimetres high?
I think it's fine to get them that size, but we need to grow them up, repot them and make them bigger before they come down here. And mulch them straight away.
I think really you want to be planting in autumn and winter, and I don't think you want to be planting in spring, is my personal opinion, unless you can water them.
I think as well the key is just to get them mulched, like just
more time
more
each
mulch,
plant.
more. As soon as we put trees down, just pile the cardboard on top, just with
The bark.
the bark, and I think we just need to get a massive truck of bark just delivered to the front. We're gonna finish off this and then go down and do Tracy the tractor.
Bored of us now. It's so fast, eh? It's so fast.